Ah, the classic developer mantra. It works on my machine. So far, we have designed, created, and tested our Task Manager app, but does it really matter if it's only running locally? Today, we are taking things to the next level. Together with ChatGPT by our side, we'll learn how to deploy this MERN stack app to Glitch so it works everywhere. Let's get started. Here's what we'll cover in this video: preparing your app for deployment, configuring your database with MongoDB Atlas, deploying both backend and frontend to Glitch, testing the deployed app to ensure everything works seamlessly.
I'll start by going over why I chose Glitch and not some fancy cloud-based provider like Render, Vercel, Heroku, etc. The primary reason for choosing Glitch is that we are learning and not properly deploying. And Glitch is the simplest interface to work with. It's a pure what you see is what you get style, drag drop based interface, which comes with a preview, logs, and most importantly, a terminal to play around with using command lines. Secondly, it works directly with local machine, and I really wanted to avoid using GitHub or other third-party integration to give you a taste of what actually happens when we deploy and not hide it behind layers. You'll see as we go forward. The downside, it's glitchy, not the most refined interface. The drag drop hardly works with multiple files and can go out of sync if we manipulate files using terminal, but can be handled using a refresh command, doesn't allow you to upload zip files, and worst of all, it's stuck in the past at Node version 16 and doesn't let you update beyond that. Since ours is a very basic app, it's not an issue as we can modify our dependencies accordingly, that is, downgrade some versions to be compatible. But all in all, pros outweigh cons by miles, so let's stick around and let's see how it goes. The first step in our journey towards deployment is to get our backend and front-end production ready, and we are going to seek help of ChatGPT, of course, so let's go ahead with it. Note that we used a very generic question, so the answer might not be totally refined to our needs, but let's see. So let's go ahead with backend preparation. Store sensitive information in env file, done. Yes, we are using Mongo URI. Using a production database, use a cloud-hosted MongoDB instance like MongoDB Atlas. Update your connection string to point to the production database. We would need detailed instructions for MongoDB instance using MongoDB Atlas, so we are going to do that next. But first, let's get other things out of the way. Optimize Express, use middleware like compression to enable gzip compression, and set up proper HTML headers using Helmet for security. All right, so let's do this. Let's get everything in their proper place. Okay, and it didn't mention, but obviously we need to install compression and Helmet, so let's go about doing that and install. Okay, next is static file serving. Serve the React build folder as static files in Express. What's going to happen is we are going to build our React application into a single static file called index.html alongside a JavaScript bundle, which would contain all of the JavaScript required by our index.html or front end, which would include the client-side React library as well as our custom logic for front-end handling. So those static files are going to be copied over into the backend deployment, and the backend is going to be serving the front end from the home route. So if the user hits the home route instead of the API, then our backend is going to be serving the front end as well. So this way, we only need to deploy our backend and not the front end. It simplifies the process a lot. So I think these steps are incomplete, but let's go ahead and make a copy of it in our server.js. So we can do this here under routes, but you need to be careful here. It's using app.get static. So if you copy it before the task, then it is going to take over the tasks itself, and you would never be able to use /tasks API here. So make sure The task API or the concrete APIs appear first and then the static one. So let's see if ChatGPT answered how the React app static files are going to make their way into the client/build folder. Otherwise, we'll need to come up with a follow-up question. Okay, front end. Building the app. Run the following command in React app to create an optimized production build, aka static files. All right, so let's go to our front end and issue the command. And it's done. That's why I love Read so much. It's super fast. And it created this test folder in which our static files have been created. This is the index.html, a very small file which just refers to this asset slash JavaScript bundle. And this is the file doing all the heavy loading. It has the entire JavaScript, client-side React, and our logic present in this minified and production-ready file. But of course, this is a test folder in front end. So no mention of client/build in backend folder yet. So let's see if it gets answered. Store API endpoints and other environment specific variables in .env file. Use React app prefix for variables. Now, one very important thing to note here is that if you are using any .env file in front end and you issue the npm run build command, these values are evaluated during this processing, and the JavaScript bundle contains the hard-coded values it evaluated at the time of build. So at runtime, there is not going to be any evaluation of environment variables. Any hard-coded value present in the JavaScript bundle would be used as is. That's a very important point. We'll see as we go on. Okay, so as expected, it never answered this question about client/build. So let me come up with a follow-up question. Okay, so it's now suggesting us a couple of approaches. One is manual copying. After running npm run build and task manager front end, you can manually copy the contents of test folder to client build. Okay, I would like to automate this step. You can automate this process by adding a script in your package.json file of task manager front end project to copy test folder to the backend. I think I like this approach, but an even better approach can be that we build the React app into static file and bundle in the backend directly. Let's get the steps to do that. Okay, so they are all good approaches. I am going with the simplest one, so let's get the steps from here. And we have the steps available with us. It is possible to configure Vite to create build output directly in client folder of our backend. So to set it up, we can modify Vite config.js with this, where it's going to build in outlier, where it's going to get one step up and create the output in task manager backend/client instead of dist folder. We are using this flag to make sure the contents are refreshed each time. Vite config. We needed to keep this, so we are only going to be copying this section. Done. Let's delete this test folder and create the bundle again using npm run build. It's done. Let's check our backend. And yes, we have a client folder with our React frontend as static files. Okay, next step in our journey towards deployment is to set up a cloud database instead of the local one, which can be used by our deployed app. And our cloud database of choice would be MongoDB Atlas. So far, we have used a local MongoDB instance on our machine, but since we are deploying a website, we need a database instance that is accessible online to our application. To do that, first step is to get a step-by-step guidance from ChatGPT via the prompt. I'm going to type. And here are the steps. We need to sign up or sign in to MongoDB Atlas on their website and then build a cluster. Choose a cloud provider, select a region, and choose free tier cluster or a paid option. We are going to go with the free tier one. And then we are going to set up a username and password for our database as our database user. And we are gonna allow network access to allow access from anywhere. And then we are gonna get our connection string, of course. So let's go ahead and do it. Sign up and sign in on my side is already done. You need to do that. And then we are gonna build a cluster. Choose the free tier, that is M0, which comes with 512 MB of storage. Make sure to deselect both these options, otherwise it's gonna add sample data to our instance. I'm going to give it a name, DMGR MDB, that is MongoDB cluster 1. We can select any provider. Let's go with Azure, select a region. Let's choose with East US and create deployment. Okay, add an IP connection, allow access from anywhere is our choice. Good. Create a database user. We need to type a username and a password. Create database user, add IP address, and we are ready. We are going to choose a connection method, which is node. It's going to take a minute. Our connection string is ready. Note, before properly using, you need to replace this placeholder with your actual password. And now we have a couple of choices. We can either copy and paste it directly in our .env file right now. We can create a .env.production, which would be used if our node environment is set to production later on, or we can just copy and paste it in the glitch interface directly. So I'm going to choose the third option, and we are done from setting this up for now. So final step is deploying the application to Glitch, and we need step-by-step guidance from ChatGPT. I have come up with this pretty detailed prompt in which I have asked several questions, including providing step-by-step detailed instructions. I told it that my front end would be served from client subfolder. I also talked about /tasks API in backend, which is being used by front end, which is something which technically fell in the domain of preparing the applications. But since we are here, let's ask it anyway. I also told it that I have the MongoDB Atlas connection string to be used as environment variable. So let's see how it responds. Okay, we have already done the first step. We can move on. Build the front end. Done. Update API URLs in your front end. Replace localhost relative with relative paths like /task in your front end code. All right, this step is important, and you must understand that we are using the API from the same backend that is serving our front end. So this relative path approach is only gonna work in the case where your backend serves your front end, is exposing your API. If you're using API from some other website, this approach of using relative paths would not work. You'll have to use proper environment variables. So let's go ahead and do this fix. So I'm going to go here and choose search for localhost 5000, and I have 4 locations where it is being shown, and I'm going to remove this localhost colon 5000 parts from all 4 locations. So I'm going to go with replace all and done. Yeah, and I also need to build it again. Okay, while this happens, prepare your deployment on Glitch, create a new project on Glitch. So you need to be signed up and signed in glitch.com to be able to do that. Then you are going to upload your code to Glitch. It's giving us steps to use Git, but we are going to use direct method. So tell it, we should have included it in our initial prompt. I know for sure that we cannot upload zip files, so I said it myself. Okay, we have the steps available. Copy backend, front end, which is not necessary. They are going to be copied as part of backend anyway, and then we are going to configure the project. So let's go to Glitch and do this. In fact, there's one thing left to ask ChatGPT before going to Glitch, and that is what is the
maximum version of Node supported by glitch. Okay, so Node.js version supported on glitch is 16.12. Right, so this means we have to make some changes to our project. The first one, to specify this version in your project, set the engines field in your package.json. Right, this configuration ensures your project uses the latest Node.js 16x version supported by Glitch. So what's going to happen is when we have this block present in our package.json, the glitch is going to automatically upgrade the Node.js version currently in use in the environment. Right, so let's go ahead and make this change. This is part of our preparation. Now there's one last thing left to do, and that is to ensure our dependencies are compatible with this. And don't consider this a waste of time. Having an environment in which certain node versions limitations exist is something that you have to deal with all the time. So this is a kind of a learning on how to go about it. So, and ChatGPT did not tell us this by default. It's not your mother, right? So we have to have some information available or we find out the hard way. In this case, since I knew, I asked this question and now we have solutions being provided. Next follow-up question to it is, can you evaluate the dependencies list in our package JSON and confirm they are compatible with 16.12 version of Node.js? Right, so certain dependencies or certain packages require higher node versions, so we have to ensure there's no conflict. Okay, so luckily all the dependencies are supposedly compatible with Node 16.12, so we are good to deploy. So let's head over to Glitch now and do the deployment. So this is Glitch. This is what you see once you have signed up. And the way to go about it is you click on the new project and then you create a Glitch Hello Node project using a template. So let's click on it and it takes a second to set up. So let's wait. Once it's done, you're going to see something like this. So here, it's a template app, example one. So let's get rid of some of the files that might come in our way, like server.js, packet.json, source folder, and any CSS files in here. And then we need to copy the contents of our backend folder. So the way to go about it using the minimum possible pain is you select all contents, including the client or the React package, and excluding the node modules folder, copy them and create a new folder. Let's call it deploy, paste the contents that we want to copy, and then drag drop the folder over here. Multiple file drag drop is problematic in Glitch, so this is the easiest way to go about it. Let it finish. Okay, so once the copy finishes, open the terminal by clicking on the terminal icon and then move the contents of deploy folder to root. And the command for that is mv-f /deploy or the folder name /static and then dot. And it's done. Let's confirm everything has been copied over. So the ls confirms everything is here and you see the node modules folder because Glitch has already started installing the application after determining that it is available. The interface is not refreshed. It doesn't until you enter the refresh command because it went out of sync. So I'm going to issue this and the interface is fixed. So we can go to the logs to see a status of installation. So let's wait for it to finish and I'll be back. Right, it finished. We can also check the node version. It won't happen in this terminal instance. Let's restart and type node-v now. And it's updated to 16.14.2. So that's good. All right, now it's complaining Mongo URI not defined in env file. So let's fix that. You have the Mongo URL available in the MongoDB Atlas. So let's define it. And you need to paste this connection string with the placeholder DB password replaced. So I'm going to do it on my own and not show you. Okay, so once my env file is updated, I see server running on port 3000, MongoDB connected successfully. Let's try to launch the project. We go to settings, go to project page, and let's see if everything works. It doesn't. Let's see what's going on. First thing to check is the logs, and there is an error. Path is not defined in server.js. All right, so let's go to server.js. And yes, we updated these routes for React application, but ChatGPT should have suggested us to import or require the path, but it didn't. And I also see another issue here that we don't have a build subfolder under client. It's just one thing. So let's fix that as well and see if the error is gone. Settings, go to project page. Okay, there's still some error. Okay, let's check. Okay, in the console tab, we can see it is refused to frame this because an ancestor violates the content security policy. This is a typical problem with glitch. You can find a resolution in ChatGPT, but not worth the time. So I'm just gonna click visit here, which is gonna open it in a new page or a full screen page instead of iframe. And here we have our task manager app. At least our front end is available and working. It's not showing anything because we don't have anything in the MongoDB Atlas database. So let's quickly try it out. If I click the Add Task button, my first online task, my first online task description, status is pending. Let's say 10, 10. Yes, and I see priority 3. And here we go. Our first task online has been created in our deployed app and it has been persisted to MongoDB Atlas and it is being displayed from over there. Let's quickly try editing as well. So I say it's in progress and save and the status got updated. Perfect. Our application is live and well and working. Let's check some of the other things. So pending, nothing gets displayed. In progress, yes, the first task gets displayed. I can change it to pending again. And now it should appear under pending and in progress should be empty. Perfect. Priority number 3 would show this task. Amazing. Completed has nothing at the moment. If I go and change it to completed and add another task and make it pending and make it priority 4. And now if I go to completed, I should see only the first task. If I go to tasks, I should see both. Awesome. So there you have it, folks. With ChatGPT's assistance, we have successfully deployed our full stack task manager app. Here's a quick recap of what we accomplished. Prepared both front end and back end for production, configured MongoDB Atlas as our database, deployed the app to Glitch, and tested it for seamless functionality. If you found this video series helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll add more videos on our channel for advanced features like user authentication, push notifications, etc. later on. So do press that bell icon so you don't miss any of those updates. Thanks for making it this far. I hope you would be able to use ChatGPT in your full stack journey much more productively than before. Don't forget to check out our prompt engineering and full stack playlist on the channel. Stay tuned, thanks for watching, and happy coding.